Hey friends, this is Audie Cornish, host of CNN This Morning and The Assignment, and guess what? Every story you care about, every angle you want unpacked is now streaming on CNN. That means you can catch my show or other CNN programming whenever you want on your favorite device. And a subscription also gets you access to exclusive video series and unlimited articles. So subscribe to CNN at cnn.com/subscription.
You're listening to Achtung Millwall, broadcasting from the beautiful South Birmingham. Accept no substitute.
Hello dear listeners, welcome to Achtung Millwall. My name is Nick Hart. Joining me to dissect last night's, or the post-mortem, the autopsy on last night's dire showing at St Andrews is our coroner, Mr Merv Payne. How are you, Merv?
I'm good. Well, I say good, but down to earth, the bump in more ways than one. We were just discussing before we went live or went on air that I come back from my holidays yesterday. We had just sort of a last minute cheeky break in the sun, and and the plane touched down the tarmac, and as soon as the lights went on for the seatbelt, so I got my phone out, took it out for plane mode, excitedly called up the BBC Sports Football page. And I was still a bit disorientated from the flight. I'm flicking through it and thinking, oh, bloody hell, who's 4-0 down? That's a rough one. Scroll back, and of course it was Millwall.
Millwall.
And then the doors of the plane opened to driving rain and freezing cold, and then I had the dentist this morning, and that cost me more than it cost me to fly to Lanzarote. So welcome home.
Welcome back to England, Merv. Last time you and I spoke, which was about a week and a half ago now, the vibes were so good. We were talking about the quality of the football, and all came to a bit of a crunching halt last night. I mean, in truth, the moment that Femi Aziz left the field at Oxford on Saturday, Merv, is where the wheels feel like they've come off slightly. Yeah,
there's a real definite sort of watermark, if you like, isn't there, or whatever they call it, where if you've got all these huge four-headed scientists to pour over the stats and the data and everything, and they come out and say basically at the moment we can't play without Femi Aziz, which is bizarre, because you think of the investment that's been in the team, and you think of the players we've got, the size of the squad, and I mean, put into one side for a minute the fact that Oxford seems to be a bit of a jinx team for us. We seem to struggle against them for some reason. Seems to me to go back to the ill-fated auto windscreens or whatever it was called at the time, semi-final.
We had a bad experience with them there, didn't we?
When we thought it was that's the mistake we made, I suppose. We thought we were at Wembley for the final, and Oxford would just roll over. I still remember Kamal Roof sort of single-handedly beating us down again, and when we went out. And since then, they just seem to have a little bit of luck over us. And obviously Gary Rowett in charge. Maybe, I don't know, has he got something? I can't imagine he's got much inside info, because not very little of his squad
also
left.
We've changed quite a lot since his day. I mean,
exactly. So I don't know what it is, but it's very frustrating that we couldn't hold on and get 3 points there. But it's like no Aziz, no party, as someone said.
I mean, Kenny Jackett used to say the margins in football are very narrow, and it's a bit of a cliche, but it is true. I mean, I was thinking after last night's thumping, Merv, I mean, if a last-minute equaliser at Oxford, if that had not, the biggest word in the English language, if that had not gone in, we'd have been in a much different frame of mind today. Although I think last night's game, I know you didn't see it, you were flying back from holiday, but I mean, the thing that really struck me, the poor performance is one thing, it's the lack of spirit that the team showed. That's the overwhelming sense of, many people have posted online. It's one thing to get beat 4-0. I mean, we lost 4-0 at home to Coventry a few months ago now. Yeah. But that had the sense of going down fighting at the Den.
They were a very good side, Coventry.
Very good side, but we weren't 100% that night, but we gave it a good go as much as we could. I can't really say that about last night's showing.
No, I've seen a lot of comments about certain players. Oh, I should never put the shirt on again. It's obviously slightly hysterical, but I get the sentiment, because I've been thinking what it is. Obviously, our recruitment is very different now. We seem to go all out for quality players, whereas perhaps in previous eras or with previous recruitment, we was always very much in the hunt for that cliched Millwall type player. You know, the player had to understand the club and the culture of the fans and that sort of thing. And I think what happens when you're in the market for quality, you run that risk of getting perhaps players that just don't get it, perhaps, or will go hiding.
Yeah, they don't have it. I mean,
rather than dig in, you know, maybe that's what it is, or I don't know. But it's frustrating.
I mean, we were just to analyse last night's match for listeners. We're going to have the voice notes after Merv and I, so you'll hear a lot more of this kind of analysis. Listeners, stay tuned. But I mean, there's a lot. It was played in driving rain, Merv, as we did on Saturday at Oxford, and these aren't glamour locations. But then this is a squad that shouldn't be playing professional football if glamour is all that they're caring about.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mihailo Ivanovic up front with his dreams of Serie A. I don't know. Italy is a long way off for him at the moment. He's a terrible run of form.
Yeah, it is bizarre. And I saw someone mention the other day that perhaps he's not as suited to the system that we play. I think he prefers to play with someone like Aziz getting the ball in a lot, whereas Aziz has been more of a striker. But you know, he's got to adapt. He's got to score goals. He's always got to at least look a bit more interested. It's been the great mystery of this season, I think, is why the big Serb has gone missing. And it's a real shame because I had really big, high hopes for him.
I think we all did, Merv, didn't we?
Yeah, after last season. And the one thing that's probably the difference between maybe finishing 7th and 6th is probably having a regular goal scoring striker, which I thought.
I mean, his goal scoring motif is that kind of what's it, the blokes, the Fulham striker,
Mitrovic.
I'm doing that. Listeners won't be able to see what I'm doing. I'm doing the ear thing, listeners.
Yeah,
the earphone thing that he does, and that's fine. But I mean, one thing Mitrovic doesn't do, Merv, is he doesn't shirk the work side of it.
No, he doesn't.
He's a physical lump. And if Miha wants to, make him his role model, he's got to start doing some of the stuff that's put Mitrovic where he is in the game.
Absolutely.
I mean, he showed no threat last night. So I think Alex Neil said this post-match, no threat whatsoever. Neither did the likes of Camille Negley, another expensive signing.
Another disappointment, unfortunately.
I think people seemed to, describing him as powder puff last night. I agree. A lot of wayward balls, miscontrol. Kundal, another one. Ballo didn't look comfortable. He's been played out of position. I mean, this is also Alex Neil's selection, and you and I have both been praising Alex Neil a lot this season. But with the praise, you have to take it on the chin. And in fairness, when he spoke after the game, he did. But I think that was a poor setup, as he put it himself in that phrase in the post-match conversation.
Yeah, I think we've discussed. We've discussed a few times. The big difference between Alex Neil and Gary Rowett and Neil Harris is Rowett and Harris had a very definite idea of how they were going to play. They weren't going to. They had their system and that was it, and they weren't going to stray from it. And I think they both probably worked out that particular system. They were pretty different, the systems, but I think they sat down. They worked out if you do this every match over a 46-game season, then you'll get X percentage of you're likely to win.
Which will favour you. Yeah.
Stay up.
Yeah.
So they were very formulaic, if you like. I think Alex Neil is more old school in that he likes to change things around. He likes to try different systems. He likes to adapt to who he's playing, which I think in the long run, I think we all appreciate. But the problem with that is you're more likely to get the wheels falling off spectacularly, as we saw at Plymouth last year, for example. Coventry, less so, because I say they were a very good side. They were really cool in the game. But definitely last night, and he's held his hands up. But it comes back to another mystery. Obviously, he brought Harding in last night.
He had a mare last night. Wes. I like Wes, but he had a mare.
I like Wes Harding, but I do think he's that sort of player where he'll put the effort in and the fans will like him. But he's never far away from having an absolute stinker. Yeah. And you have to wonder, where is Caleb Taylor?
Came in late. I don't know. Some of the choices are hard to understand. Let's say that. He did come in.
I assumed, given when he came, he was a straight replacement for Tanganga. I thought that he would just slot in there alongside Cooper, and Cramer's a great. It's not his natural, but he's great at right back. He's a good option at right back. Yeah. And yet a reported £3 million defender, and he can't get off the bench, and he's leapfrogged by Harding. And it's strange, especially when we leak goals like that.
Well, I mean,
It's
another
good.
strangeness. I mean, I think Birmingham will count themselves unlucky not to be further ahead earlier. To be honest, they had moments in front of goal. I won't dwell on every single one of them, listeners, but
No.
we had one shot. Luke Cundall caught a quite a nice volley, Merv, straight at the goalkeeper, who took it well enough. But that was one shot. And the only other shot I've got on my notes here, it was Negley had a go in the 40th minute. Apart from that, we had nothing in front of goal whatsoever.
Yeah,
But
it's bizarre.
Birmingham peppered us. I mean, a good save by Crocombe. Then the goal, which was like a cross from the right side, caught well by this. But they was given a bit of time and space to pick.
Yeah, I saw the highlights, and we were just pedestrian really for all their goals. That we just didn't look with it at all. And it is bizarre, but that's you can say that for this entire division. You look back over the last few weeks.
Yeah,
I mean, it was 3 weeks ago that we beat Stoke quite comfortably.
Yeah, Bristol got beat 5-1 at the weekend,
and
didn't
then
they?
exactly, and then Bristol were flying, Bristol City.
Yeah,
and then suddenly, and then Stoke after that. I remember seeing on social media some of the Stoke fans moaning about how poor they were, and then they go to Pompey and win, thrash Bristol City, and
so it goes.
Beat Borough, and then Borough, suddenly Borough and Coventry get beat. And you just see all over the place. The results are just the whole division is completely bipolar.
I mean,
but
style-wise, last night we were using the long ball, which has worked with Femi Aziz, the long ball into the channel for Femi to chase on, and I think he's clearly a level apart from the rest of our squad at the moment. Anyway, I know he's injured, but so that wasn't working really. We had the Negley shot on 40 minutes, and then a couple of moments of comic defending really, because unfortunately poor old Wes couldn't control the football, played quite. It wasn't an uncomfortable situation, but it was a bit like me out there, Merv. I can't control the football either, but I don't get paid a professional wage to do that. And then they broke forward, and that was really the game at 2-0 just before half time. I think we were dead, and I think we believed we were dead.
Yeah. And again, it's little things like that. At Oxford as well. I know that their first goal was a decent strike, but to concede right at the end of each half, again, it's
a switch off.
Yeah, it suggests a certain lack of application, the sort of thing that perhaps wouldn't have happened if you want to start comparing or start arguing about previous managers. People will say, well, it wouldn't have happened under Neil Harris. It wouldn't have happened, But
I mean, it can. I think there's a tendency in the immediate aftermath of a thumping, which is what we had last night, for people to start looking back with rosy tints. I mean, both Harris and Rowett, for right or wrong, got hounded out of the club, abused out of the club because of the poor performances. So we have to keep that in mind. Certainly last night, one or two key positions went missing. I mean, there was just nothing. We had no presence in the second half at all. 3-0 down with a great volley. And it took a very unfortunate deflection at the last moment off of, I think it's Tristan Kramer, as it got towards Crocombe. I mean, we had no chance with that. It just went off at an angle. I think he had it covered initially, but then it took a very slight deflection, and that was that. We just looked all over the place. I think that's the thing that's really been dispiriting, Merv. The shambolic nature of it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not making him a scapegoat, but I've never been a fan of Brian as a defender. He offers a lot going forward and attacking, but we always seem to look a lot more frail at the back, a lot more brittle
when he's involved.
And I've always thought that. I thought he's great for the whole wing back thing and joining in the attacks and stuff like that. But I just feel like if you're up against a half decent strike force, someone who can hit on the break, he just doesn't help us out at all. I think
no.
Winning him for third was perhaps another bad call. But yeah, we said before we need pace. I think that's one of the things that did us last night was their pace.
I think I want to mention Alex Neil's what's the right word? Mentality sounds a bit strong when you say that. Anyway, his thinking last night. Yeah. No substitutions at half time. We're 2-0 down. Should have been 1-0 down at half time, but anyway, we've managed to contrive to get ourselves 2-0 down. I was thinking, well, there were one or two howlers out there. I mean, Brian, you've mentioned Merv. Wes was not looking like he was, at the races. The likes of Negley and Cundall just weren't. They were looking powder puff, lightweight. Substitutions would have been on my mind at half time because we're chasing a game at 2-0.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why no subs were made. And then at 3-0, I think he said in his post-match interview, Alex Neil, and I'm not particularly here to criticise anyone, but he said my job then was to prevent any more goals or to stop us sinking further or something like that. I thought,
Right.
well, your job really is to try and claw your way, get a goal, and then maybe from there, with still the bulk of the second half to go.
Well, yeah. I
Who
mean,
knows?
it wasn't that long ago. Well, it probably was actually. I'll probably be amazed to find out how long ago it was. But I remember us being 3 up against, funnily enough, at home to Birmingham.
Yeah.
I think it was in the Chris Wood days, I think, and we raced into a 3-goal lead and contrived to throw that away because,
Yeah.
people say, oh, it's sort of stuff of fantasy, but you've
Well,
seen the happening.
if you don't try,
there was plenty of time. Exactly, there was plenty of time to at least still try and get ourselves back into the game. You get a quick goal, or you get a couple of quick goals, and suddenly the game's the game's up for
I
grabs
think
again.
I can remember at home, Merv, a game in the Dennis Wise era, a game against Wigan, where I think we were 3-0 down or 3-1 down late. And Wisey brought himself on off the bench because he's very much at the end of his career and did a masterclass in contriving to create such dead ball situations. And we got ourselves back to 3-0, and that was late in the game. If you don't try, you're not going to get it, are you?
Exactly. I think that was early on in the season. That one was. I do remember that. Yeah.
But I think Alex Neil's point was he didn't want to use up more legs, as he put it, with another game to come early on Saturday morning. I don't know. Take your pick, listeners. But 3-0 down, we certainly were. And then we're not making substitutions. We were certainly dead and buried. And Birmingham really were picking their moments after that. It went close a few times.
I spoke to someone who went, and they said it really could and should have been 6 or 7 or more.
Yeah, easily. Yeah, in my opinion, they could.
Again, and that's another worrying aspect. I think with the defence, you've mentioned there obviously Brian and Harding having bad games, and that's half your defence then basically. And then I think the trouble also is, and again, I'm not knocking him. It's just an observation with Jake Cooper. If other defenders are having a bad time, he tends to slip back then as well, rather than sort of pick them up and sort of regalvanise and that sort of thing. I think he then tends to suffer as well, and then suddenly your entire defence is sort of in disarray. And I think it comes back to that discussion we had last year when there still doesn't seem to be a leader in this squad even now. I'm not sure who in that squad is a sort of a leader.
I would say my choice of leader would have. I mean, it was we've just had the whole kind of celebratory mood for Jake's 400th appearance. He's not an on-field voice. I mean, this is it. Yeah. Billy is coming into that role. I think Billy Mitchell, but he's leading by example rather than necessarily trying to think of a good example. A Les Briley or a Terry Hurlock bellowing at you to move, or else there might be dire consequences for you.
Definitely.
That kind of an Alex Ray seeing, just that kind of leadership. We don't see that in the side. And I think the point you've made already is that we've signed players who I think are very skillful. I mean, I've knocked Camille Negley. Luke Condor is clearly a talented boy, but they seem to, their heads drop quite fast when setbacks happen. I think Alex Neil mentioned our response to goals conceded seems to be that we heads drop, body language goes, everything, and then 4-0 last night, and it really was. I was just glad to see the end of the game, to be honest.
One of them definitely.
There we are. And I've noted down the fact that last time I spoke to you, Merv, I said it's got to the point where I'm actually looking forward to going to Millwall to watch it. Is that not? Is that the football gods laughing at me? Do you think?
Yeah. Well, we did say that after the recent results, going to Oxford and not getting a result was probably the most Millwall thing that could happen. and we have more injuries. I mean, our injuries are like the Tides, aren't they?
Injuries don't help us.
Injuries. We finally get them back, and they get injured again. Yeah. And ironically, the one thing that might help us or save us, as much as we dislike it, is the international break. So I think we've now relied on 3 international breaks to try and get some injured players.
Get ourselves out of trouble.
And not drop too many points because of them, because Preston won't be easy on Saturday. They're a good side. So we need Alex Neil to sort of learn very quickly on how to improve on last night and put out a team capable of winning without Femi Aziz. Because,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Just a worry.
Just one final thing that made me laugh. We all need a laugh, Merv. On the back of a 4-0 loss. I got a pop up earlier on the YouTube channel. Millwall FC have posted. It just popped up out of nowhere. 13:09 today. It's their video on Halloween chaos. I thought that was quite it wasn't Halloween last night, but it was certainly chaos.
No. Yeah, certainly.
This was someone running around with a ghoul mask on at Calmont Road. I thought that's an appropriate post, isn't it? Halloween chaos. Anyway, that was Guy Fawkes Eve chaos last night. Oh dear. On to Preston we go. At least there's a chance to try and turn it round swiftly. There has to be changes from that team last night, Merv.
Absolutely. Definitely.
You don't want to be too panic reaction-ish, whatever the expression is, but we can't turn that side out again. So
no.
It's going to be interesting to see what we get against Preston at the Den on. It's not quite the morning, 12:30 kickoff, but I shall be there, listeners, and we'll see what we get after that. Merv, welcome back to England, mate.
Welcome back indeed. Thanks, Nick.
And perhaps you and I can speak next Monday, and we'll review what where we stand going into the international break.
Okay.
Big thank you, Merv Payne. Stay tuned, listeners, for the voice notes.
Hello?
Hello, Nick. Hello, listeners. Well, it's the morning after the night before. Complete battering at Birmingham there. But, I've got to say, I think Alex Neil alluded to it in his post-match interview, which I watched when travelling back, that he's got to take some of the blame for that. I think he needs to take all the blame for it, really. That is a failure of management. I couldn't quite believe the team selection he went with when I saw it on the Twitter feed. That's all I've got to say about it, really. I'm not going to dig out various players, but our back, our defence was in tatters, basically. He's put players in there which are either, defensively just off their game at the moment, or just not really of that sort of intensity, really. We all know what happened. It was an absolute shellacking. We weren't even ever in it. That's the annoying thing. We just were not in it. He played Negley out of position again. I don't know what Bello was doing on that side of the pitch. He was just, wasn't really in the game. We had so many players who just went missing, and we got absolutely punished for it. And Birmingham are a good side. They moved well for each other, and they're one to watch, in this division. But on current form, we shouldn't have folded like that. That was that was a bad night. Another poured out the office, and this is the thing: we're just not being managed effectively. I don't think so. Rather than just dig people out, this is what I think we should have gone for. Number one, Zach Sturge should have been in at left back. It was going to be an intense game. If you're going to manage minutes, it's probably better to put someone else in for Zach Sturge if he needed a rest at home against Preston. This was I can't believe that Alex Neil didn't read the room better. Birmingham won 4-0, at the weekend. They're on a massive roll. They're getting 25,000 supporters at home. It's a cold, rainy night up in Birmingham. I mean, read the room a bit better, mate. Jesus. Zach Sturge in at left back. You move Kramer to right back. You put Taylor and Cooper in the middle. And you set up like that. You could even go back five like we did at Crystal Palace. Then you can have maybe Wes Harding playing. But even so, I think you move Kramer out to right back in any event to cover that deficit there. I mean, we realise how much we miss Ryan Leonard. You got to pack the midfield as well. I'm just not sure what he's doing with putting Negley and Bello out on the flanks. I mean, Negley needs to go in at that 10. I personally probably wouldn't have played Ivanovic on the night. I'd have rested him and put someone a bit busier in there. Langstaff, at least he would have got around and got into him. I mean, to be honest, Tom Bradshaw was better as a target man than Ivanovic is, and that's saying something. You know, Tom, not exactly the tallest of the guys. So that's one for Alex Neil to think about. We're going to have to bounce back again, but there comes a time when, you know, you can't bounce back anymore and you start moving down the table. If we're losing one or two players and setting up the team like that, in that shape and with that team selection, then I can't really see much more than a sort of mid-table to sort of bottomish end to the season, really. I think we've got found out, and I think it's all unravelling on the back of that. Very uncharacteristic performance and a bit of a bastard trip for us supporters who went up there. But anyway, you know, it's Memorial Sunday at the Den on Saturday, so that's something to take part in and to get some pride back. Come on, you Lions.
Big thank you, John Ranking there, dear listeners. And I want to say huge well done to I think it was about 1100 Millwall that went up to Birmingham last night on what was a mare of a night. It was slinging down. I watched it on the telly. You know, I didn't take on that journey, but John did. Saw you on the in the kind of prelim crowd shots, John, and there were plenty of other familiar faces that the camera picked up. So I just want to say well done to the 1100 fans who were badly let down by this team. And I include Alex Neil. John's made some great points about the failure of management, I think was the phrase he used. And that's absolutely correct. Alex Neil, I think, as others have said, tries to get a bit clever sometimes with some of his choices, and I'm not sure that really we have a squad that is sophisticated enough to be able to be tinkered with in this way and still perform. I thought we were dire. Ball just wasn't sticking going forwards. Ivanovic, who knows what's become of the boy. He was looking so good last season. This season he looks like a little lost lamb, and I don't know what to say. I mean, I think I'm actually thinking, John, you might be onto something. But play Langstaff, who isn't dangerous, but does at least give you work rate, Bradshaw style, as John has just said. I don't have a solution. We look so light up front and across the attacking three. I mean, the ball was misplaced passes. The ball wasn't sticking in midfield. Ballo looked light. Kundal looked light. Negley looked light. As we've said already on this show, talented boys each, but as a freeway combination, no, there was no bite, no drive, no pride last night, I felt, and that was the most embarrassing thing of all. Poor old Wes in defence, he got found out badly. It was his bad touch that led to the killer, and it was the killer second goal, because I think at that point we were done for, and that was going straight into the half-time tunnel. It was his bad touch to let the boys get in for the break forwards. What can you say? So yeah, big thank you to John. We do need a response on Saturday. Whether Alex Neil will make dramatic changes or whether he'll try and build around the team that he's got there, I imagine it'd be bring one or two. Where's Rice Bangura Williams, dear listeners? Where is he? He was on the bench last night. I'm asking a rhetorical question there. A rhetorical question. With the loss of Femi, who seems to be out for a few weeks now, at least we've got the international break looming, so that will be some healing time for our only threatening player, our only creative force, Femi Aziz. Why are we not using our other creative force in Race Bangura Williams? I get that maybe Alex Neil might have some issues with his work rate and tracking back and all those kinds of things that managers rate so highly, but have a rerun of the performances we've seen last night and to some extent for large stretches of the game at Oxford, you know, where players went missing. There's no work rate really worth the name from the likes of Negley, Kundal, and others, and Ballow's good going forwards, or has been, but woefully out of position last night and looked another one who's lost. So yeah, huge questions for Alex Neil to answer, but big well done to everybody that went up there. And you know, I know that people were leaving at 3-0. I don't blame them. Long trip back, and I know John had a mare of a journey coming back from Birmingham back to where he lives on the south coast. So huge thank you, John Rankin. We're going to run a couple of voice notes together now. We're going to have Mike George and then Matt Webb.
Not sure quite what we can say about that defeat at Birmingham City. Basically, Millwall just didn't turn up. They never got out of fourth gear, and they sat and watched as Birmingham played around them. And the most amazing thing about it is that we're still in fourth place in the table. So I guess you just describe it as a blip. But Alex Neil has now got to get hold of this squad by the scruff of its neck and do a major reset for Saturday when we play Preston. The worrying thing is that with the injuries that we have and the players coming in, just didn't look basically at it at all. It's such a shame because a lot of the great work has been done to get us where we are, and the wheels came off at Birmingham City. Still, you've got to keep the faith. Come on, you Lions.
This is a record for me, Nick Hart, that I have left the ground at 9:05 in the evening, and in no for reason whatsoever apart from the fact that I am utterly embarrassed and appalled by that so-called performance. That third goal went in, that was it. That was the nail on the coffee for the game today. I don't get it, you know. It's a tough place to go, Birmingham, granted. You know, they've had a massive shift in sort of how the club's operated. But we didn't lay a feather on them. Absolute embarrassment. Really was poor. I think the team selection was definitely poor. Utterly poor. The formation, okay, it's the same, but the player selection in those spots, I don't get it. I honestly, I'm gobsmacked, mate. So I'm walking home to the car now. At least I'm going to get home in good time. I'll beat the traffic, and yeah, I feel sorry for all the 1,100 that have travelled up here. You know, it's pissing down with rain. We're all soaking wet, and we're subjected to that shower shit. So I'm not going to get too much on it, but we need a response come Saturday. Not just because it's Preston, Alex Neil's old club, or not the fact that we're at home. It's fucking Remembrance Day, and we've always got to put a performance in and put a shift in. So Millwall Football Club, I hope if you do listen to this, anyone now, pull your socks up.
Well said, Matt, and well spoken, Mike, before Matt Webb there, dear listeners. I mean, just to repeat, well done everybody that went up there. It looked horrendous. Horrendous on the pitch and horrendous off it in terms of the conditions. I think sometimes football takes for granted the loyalty of fans. I'm not saying that you can't ever get beat. Of course you can. We all know the realities of football. Sometimes you come up against better teams. And Birmingham were the better team last night, make no mistake, dear listeners. But we allowed them to be, and I think that's what really stuck in the craw last night for me. The fact we showed no spirit, no attempt was made. I mean, the whole second half went without us getting anywhere close to their penalty area, let alone have a shot on goal. And that lack of drive is the thing that condemned that Mill team for me last night. But they were good. But we allowed them to be good. So, you know, I'm going to say no more than that. We're going to have a listen now to Hassan Cooley, and then we'll be back after the messages with the remainder of the voice notes. Stay tuned, dear listeners.
Morning, Nick. It's Hassan here. The morning after the night before. Tough night in the office, wasn't it, all round? Overly a poor performance, obviously, to ship 4 goals away from home. First away defeat. It's a little bit sickening, and to be honest with you, going into it, I wasn't confident. If we had Aziz, if we had Leonard, if we'd beaten Oxford, I say 100%, full of confidence. But I think the writing was on the wall as soon as Aziz got injured on Saturday, mate. You know, we had to beat Oxford because after what had happened, I just had a bad feeling about last night. I just knew that we weren't going to get any result. I was surprised to hear apparently we were unbeaten in the last 8 visits to St Andrews, which I find amazing because every time I think of Birmingham away, I just think of us losing. I've been there twice in my time over the years, and both times we lost 4-0. I fucking hate that place. And last night just summed it up really. I looked at the team lineup and I thought, you know what, we ain't gonna do nothing tonight. And when I saw Negley and Kundal starting, I thought, all right, maybe I didn't mind Kundal on the wing because he's such a busy little player, and maybe Negley in the middle, but it just didn't make any sense. He put Negley on the left, Balla on the right, Kundal in the middle, completely ineffective. All three of them. Negley left Joe Bryan exposed on that left-hand side there. Their right winger, Patrick Roberts, a quality player at this level, got promoted with Sunderland. Surely Alex Neil thought, you know what, I need to shore that side up, maybe double him up because everything was going down there. But end of the day, Nick, mate, if you don't have 100% commitment all around the pitch, you're not going to win games of football, especially hard games away from home and pissing rain again. Horrible conditions. That's not the reason why we lost the game. The reason why we lost the game is because we were outfought in physically and mentally. They harried us. They were first to every loose ball. And it just seems every time they went forward, they were going to score. I was amazed it stayed at 4-0. We had a few little flurries in the first half, but apart from that, to me, we just looked defeated almost from the start. We had this mentality of like, oh, this is too hard. We can't do this, and unfortunately, we haven't got enough. We haven't got enough Millwall men, in my opinion. When the back's against the wall, and things aren't going for you, you need people to stand up. And mate, I'll be honest with you, this team, as much as I love it, as much as I love Alex Neil and what he's doing, it's got a very soft underbelly. I tell you, it's got a very, very soft underbelly, and it's quite worrying, to be honest with you. There's too many luxury players in our side, and he can work on a good day, but on a bad day, you need Billy Mitchells. I'm sorry, he was the only one, maybe Casper, who were up for the fight. You know, everyone else just seemed to shrink it. You know, they were very below par. Again, for me, only Billy comes out of any, and maybe Casper comes out of any plaudits after last night. Where's Harding? What can we say about Wes? He's not a championship right back, is he? I'm sorry. To be honest with you, he's not even the right back full stop. I'm pretty sure he came in as a centre back. He's just been shoved out there because we've got no one else. But how many other teams in this league can lose their whole right-hand side in the space of two games? It's a fucking joke, isn't it? Let's face it. Coventry haven't done it. Stoke clearly haven't done it. You know, only can happen at Millwall, in it, to lose a whole right-hand side. And that's where we ultimately, not so we lost the game, but it contributed to it massively because Harding is not good enough. I'm sorry. People like him, but he's not a championship right back. He's a stopgap at best when you need to shore up a defence for the last 10, 15 minutes at best. But, mate, between now and January, we're going to struggle big time. We're really going to struggle. If you look at the period when Aziz got injured to when he came back, poor performances, couldn't score more than a goal, all out of sorts. He's come back. We've shot up the league. He's fucked again. And we're going to start going backwards again. I've got no faith in Namaku. He came on. He looks as a shell of a player that he was at the end of last season. Don't want to try anything. His first control, his touch is awful. I know it was a bad night. I don't want to dig too many players out, but I can only comment on what I saw. To me, I think he doesn't know where he stands now on his side. RBW still can't get a fucking kick. I just don't get it for me. I mean, as for Kundal, I'm not his biggest fan. I'm still not. I'm sorry. He just, I don't know what it is with him. He just doesn't. He's just a whole lot of nothing. If that makes sense, you know, whole lot of nothing. He's a busy player, but don't do anything. He gets the ball, he turns into trouble. He had one good volley. I'll give him that. But apart from that, just at least with Negley, he gets a lot of stick because he's on the ball and he wants to make things happen. He will lose the ball, but he's a proper baller, as they say. And you know, I've still got confidence in him, in Negley, that is. But you know, in games like last night, you need more men. You need more people going to play ugly. Mahailo's done for me in terms of the short term. He needs to be taken out. There's one good thing that Bomber did, is he knew when to bring young players in and knew when to bring them out. He's 20 years old now. He's not in this one up front, it's just not working. He whatever he's supposed to be doing isn't working. He can't hold the ball up. We're not giving him runs to run onto, or get RBW playing in behind him. You know, two of the best goals that I've seen at Mill for a very long time were scored by him, and they were both set up by RBW. They clearly got an understanding. He doesn't get a fucking look in. You know, at the end of the day, I'm not getting too upset. I take my hat off to the commentators last night on the Sky Red Bar. I don't know who they were, but they constantly kept almost like reassuring any Mill fans listening. They were like, listen, it's a bad result, but you're still fourth in the league, you're still this, you're still that. And I thought, you know what, he's actually right. And somehow, by some miracle, we're still fourth. So, you know, as they say, don't get too high when we lose, don't get too high when we win, don't get too low when we lose. And let's just hope these boys will take advantage of that on Saturday and put all their anger and frustration into Preston and get a result. And that's the only way we can finish off this game week. Beat Preston and then lick our wounds and go again. That's all I've got to say about that, mate. All the best.
REI Co-op presents a perfect outdoor moment with the perfect gift. Picture this. You're ripping with your favorite person. Bluebird skies, blower powder, and frankly, you're skiing like legends.
So sick. Another lap?
Thanks to REI's curation, from lid to sticks, you nailed the gift.
No way. How'd you know?
Does it get more perfect than that? Give without guessing. Shop in store or visit rei.com.
Achtung, Millwall.
Thank you, Hassan, mate, just before the break there. Yeah, I mean, Ivanovic does look lost. Kundal, very powder puff last night. Nigley didn't look brilliant where he was. The control and the commentary team were commenting on a number of passes being misplaced and how the ball was being given back to the blue shirts, Birmingham last night. Why Race Bangura can't get a game is frankly beyond me. I'm not saying he's the answer to every problem that Millwall's got, listeners, but he does give creativity, and that was what we were crying out for last night. Outthought and outthought, Hassan's phrase. I like that. Yeah, I've got nothing more to add. Wes in defence, I mean, he's obviously going to get the flack for the loss of control, especially for that second goal, which was the crucial goal. That was a killer goal for me, number 2. Reminded a bit of Murray Wallace, 100% committed. Players, honest players, League One players, but are playing at a level where one mistake gets you punished. That's the truth of the Championship. We're playing at a kind of a Premier League, Mark II level. And as we all know, if you give easy balls and easy chances to teams at this level, then 9 times out of 10 you're going to get hurt. And that's what happened for the second goal. And after that, we just looked out of it. We looked dead in the water. So big thank you to Hassan. We're going to play the remainder of the voice notes now. Big thank you to everyone for sending in the content. I really appreciate it. It's difficult in the aftermath of 4-0 shellacking, isn't it, to keep your spirits up. I will be at the Den this coming Saturday for the Preston game, dear listeners. Let's hope for better times after that. Let's hope for a win and maybe some more upbeat opportunities to look on the bright side of life. But until the next edition from me, Nick Hart, it's Arrivederci Millwall. We're going to follow up now with Rob Abbott.
Morning, Nick. Rob Abbott. Currently sitting in Birmingham Airport waiting for my flight back to Dublin after last night's shit showing. Look, I'm not going to be too critical. It was poor all around. Alex Neil alluded in his post-match interview, basically admitting he got the shape and the team wrong. It was a nothing game for 20 minutes, but as soon as we went behind, it was just one-way traffic. We hardly had an attempt all night. All I can remember was a Kundal and an Egley long-range run in those first 20 minutes, but it was poor. We looked well off it. We come away with a 4-0 defeat. Worrying thing for me is we've had 4 defeats this year with a combined score of 0 goals for and 13 against. So, when we're getting beat bad. But in those other 3 games we got beat, I don't think we've played that bad. We've just conceded goals on the transition towards the end of the game, where last night was the worst performance under Alex Neil's tenure. But look, we're still fourth. This is a bizarre league. We got to bounce back on Saturday. I would expect some changes, and yeah, if we go into the international break after 15 games in the top 8, I think all the fan base would have taken out at the start of the year. But yeah, onwards and upwards. One last thing, Nick. Let's hope we see Bangura Williams sometimes on Saturday, and whatever's happened behind the scenes, we can move on and we can get him on the pitch. The Negley experiment of him being a winger does not work. He needs to play in the 10. And the one other strange thing from last night, the breakup of Sturge and Ballo down the left-hand side of the pitch, that was strange. But like I said in my first voice note, Alex Neil alluded to the fact that he was basically admitting that he got it wrong. So, yeah, I'll be surprised if it's not Sturge and Ballo on the left on Saturday. But, yeah, hopefully Bangura Williams comes in. And then, yeah, the big question, who's going to play right back? Because Mr. Wes Harding, a lot of time for him, seems to love it, enjoy it. It's always done quite well when he played, was by far our worst player last night. And, yeah, I think if it's not a back 5 on Saturday, I can't see us playing Wes Harding, because I think Preston North End, who are a very good side, will target that.
Nick, greetings from Riga in Latvia. And the first half hour set the tone, didn't it? Too much going down the channels, asking too much of people, not clinical enough, too many players having an off day. When that happens, you've got to keep possession of the football. Just do the basics. Take the sting out of the game. What didn't help our cause was that the Birmingham bastards were right up for it, and at 3-0 just took the piss. Well, that's it. The proud away record has gone in spectacular fashion. Big respect to all the fans that had to suffer that out of character performance. So let's have a reset and try to get back to winning ways on Saturday with another top 6 home game. One last thing, when we're looking for creativity to unlock defences, what does RBW have to do to get a game? Anyway, let's keep the faith. We are a team in transition, trying to go from mid-table regulars to become playoff contenders. I'm sure we'll get there, but perhaps our head coach needs another couple of transfer windows. Methinks. Come on, you Lions.
Right, Nick, it's Lawrence Binney here calling in after Birmingham City 4, Millwall 0. Very sort of reminiscent of a few performances we've had under Alex Neil. We have this propensity to get dicked every so often, I feel, under him, which is strange because I feel like the rest of the time we look fairly solid. But today, yeah, it felt a bit like that Plymouth game last year, where just everything they touched seemed to turn to gold, and we couldn't do anything right. I don't think that we should get too carried away with the disappointing results over the past week. We've just come off the back of a really, really good spell. It's going to be ups and downs, and I think actually maybe a little bit of realism was what we needed, because I mean, even myself kind of felt myself getting carried away with the idea of breaking into the top 2. There are still flaws in this squad. I think, the recent injuries to Lenny and Aziz shows how fragile that balance that we found is. And sometimes, the likes of Billy Mitchell and Casper Denor, as good as they are, they can get overrun by, I think, better players. That Doyle they had tonight is just a better player than both. That's what millions and millions of pounds can get you. That's not diminishing the talents of Denor and Mitchell, but I just don't think they're quite at that level yet, or perhaps never will be. I mean, who knows? But yeah, I think there are 2 players that and perhaps unfairly, I don't even think this is unfair at this point. Kamil Negley and Mihailo Ivanovic are kind of approaching kind of being on borrowed time, I think, with the fans. I think Negley especially, I really don't understand kind of what his role is in this side. I don't know if he's bereft of confidence or an attitude thing. Getting hauled off by Neil certainly wasn't a glowing endorsement of his talents. Whereas Ivanovic is just desperate for a rest. I think just drop him, put Langstaff in. It's just like he doesn't seem like the kind of player, or he's either not that kind of player, or he's too young. But he's not gonna play through this. I don't think. I think he needs a bit of a break from the spotlight. So yeah, I think the international break has come off at a good time. Hopefully get Aziz and Lenny and a couple of others back. But yeah, I think we might have to do a little bit of strengthening in some of those wide positions and full-back positions over January. But either way, it's been a good season so far. Come on your lines. I think we'll beat Preston.
Morning, Nick. Jim let the mate. So about last night, well, fucking journey over there was a nightmare. It took about an hour to do the last 3 or 4 miles in Birmingham. But anyway, pissing down with rain. Then we see the team sheet and we think, not sure about this gaffer. How many times is he going to stick with fucking Negley and Condon in the same team? It don't work. Simple as that. It does not work. And fucking, I don't know what happened with Ballo last night. The fella just lost the plot. He just weren't fucking moving or trying or anything. So, but listen, we're still 4th and we're going to have setbacks. But what is worrying is every time we seem to be getting beat this season, we're not just getting beat, we are actually getting absolutely fucking battered, which is, again, a bit like the last few seasons. It wonders where the spine of the team is and the backbone when we go 1-0 down sometimes. On to Saturday, mate. Hopefully the news about Aziz is spot on and he'll be back soon after the international break, because we don't want to sound like we're a one-man team, but fucking hell, when he don't play this season, it is like we're missing a major outlet, both in goals and assists. And the other thing I just want to say is these cunts fucking having a go at Ivanovic. Listen, the fella's young still, right? He was fucking brilliant last season in his first season. He's having second season syndrome. But the service to him is absolutely fucking awful. Last night we're just knocking long balls in next. What are we expecting him to do? Take 2-3 players on and then bang it in the back of the fucking net? Give the fella some service. And that brings me on to why the hell is RBW not getting a look in? Last season he linked up with Ivano 2 or 3 times and got him a couple of goals. Yet the fella can't even get a look in, and I can't believe that. Something hasn't gone on there, whether it's attitude with him or whatever, but fucking hell, Gaffer, give RBW a chance, because Imarku, Negley, they're no better than him. Anyway, rant it over, mate. See you later. Ta-ra, bye.
Hello, Nick. Digger Dave here. Just thought I'd give you a shout after the game last night. Firstly, fair play to all the fans who went up there. It's never easy doing aways midweek. I know what it's like trying to jump out of work at 3 o'clock, get yourself 100 mile up the road, whatever, and then to be served up an absolute bashing like that is, it's not great. I didn't make it because I'm now coaching the youth side, believe it or not. So, but one thing I'll say that I've learned in my short space of time is that each team needs ball carriers, right? And I don't see a ball carrier in the Millwall shirt at the moment. I don't see anyone getting us up the pitch. Everything we do to try and get forward is lumping it long to try and get knocked down, second balls, whatever. And it just ain't working. It don't suit the players we've got, I don't think. Why Race didn't get a run out last night, Race Bengura, I don't know. I'm hearing the boys got attitude problems or something like that. But at the end of the day, you need these sorts of players. You need players that have a spark, have some creativity about them. And also, I was a bit concerned about about Sturge not being about. So I don't know what's happened to him. I hope he's all right. Anyway, as I say, I've, more than anything, respect to the fans that went. Fair play to you. We've got Preston next, don't we? That's going to be a bit of an interesting one. Let's see how we get on with that. Cheers, Nick.
Nick, Aussie Dave, after that shellacking by Birmingham, could have been more than 4. We were gutless. We were lightweight, both physically and mentally. What can go wrong did go wrong. We've just got too many lightweight players for those Tuesday nights under the rain, Kundal, Negley, Ivanovic. Anyway, the whole team had nothing to be proud of, and I'm sure you'll get other more angry responses. I've got a couple of areas of observations, and the first one I'm going to spend most of my time on is Alex Neil's tactics. Very rarely criticise Alex Neil. We're all happy we've got him and he's done well. But I thought he got done today by Chris Smith, the coach of Birmingham. We were totally open down the right-hand side. And that was a combination of reasons. They've got Roberts, who's a tricky winger, and their right wing-back, Iwata. Those two go marauding down the right in oceans of space. And no wonder they just could do what they want. And this links with the fact we had Negley on the left wing, who was supposed to be help covering. As I said in the last game against Oxford, Negley is not a bloody winger. And he doesn't track back, and he's easily beaten. And so they just had oceans of space. The next thing with the tactics, I'm not quite sure why he picked Harding. He's a nice bloke, Uncle Wes and all that. I was over the UK last year, last 5 games, saw him at Blackburn, a game we had to really get a point, and we lost, literally 3-1 or something. He played in that game from the off, and I clearly remember he was at mistake for 2 of the goals. He's just not good enough. He should have put Crammer on the right. This is a 2020 hindsight. I thought that was the way to go, with a 3 million centre-back on the bench in Taylor. Third thing, Ballo looked lost on the right. Yet another tactical thing. Why play him there? He should have played, if he's going to play Negley, which I don't mind as a number 10, Ballo on the left, and I actually would have put Kundal on the right, but that's a separate issue. Next tactical thing, half-time, 2-0 down, not looking up for it, no changes. What was he up to? Alex Neil, surely it's a time to change. You've got to pick up 2 goals, and he did nothing, and then it was 3-0, and the horse had bolted. And summarise all these tactics, there was a great co-commentator with Carl Bates, Andy Marshall, the ex-Millwall man, and he kept making tactical observations that you would agree with, like our press was useless after 10 minutes, this thing with Owata on the right, with Roberts, and many, many more. And you thought, he can see it, why can't Alex Neil? And we didn't change much in the whole game. So I'm sure it's a one-off, but is it? We got thrashed by Coventry and Middlesbrough and Plymouth last year. So I just think sometimes, even though I love the guy, I think he's a bit delayed in changing it when it's all going pear-shaped. The second thing I want to look at, and it's fairly obvious, we are a one-man team in attack. Aziz, without him, we look aimless. We've had 7 wins this year. Aziz has played in 5 of them. So, and look what happened today. And we really missed him, I think, after he got injured at Oxford, even though he deserved to win. And I know Oxford got thrashed at home by Stoke last night. Just shows our performance probably wasn't that good at Oxford and last night at Birmingham. Third thing, Ivanovic. All the supporters are getting on his back. I feel sorry for him. He is a bit lost and needs to be taken out of the team. But as I've said so many times now, he's being used wrong, being used incorrectly, I feel. He seems to get balls pumped in when he's got burly defenders behind him and he struggles because he's lightweight and his heading isn't fantastic. For example, you look at the centre forward for Birmingham, a guy called Dux. He kept coming up to the halfway line and he would lose Cooper in doing that. He would get in the build-up play and then run forward when the ball was going forward for them. Why wasn't... we need to use him in that way, not as a battering ram. Maybe Coburn can do that, but Ivanovic can't. I'm a couple of more things, no more rants. Just now, the man of the match, if there was one, was Billy. He's got the heart and soul of Millwall. And finally, Preston on Saturday. I'll be interested to see the tactics. And really, we've got to win this to keep our momentum for the international break. Anyway, keep the faith. Come on, you Lions.
Good afternoon, Nick Hart, Bobby T. I've gathered my thoughts, and I just wanted to say basically to you, after last night's massacre of the old Brum and the way I looked at them poor fans who didn't deserve to be served that piece of shit or that whatever they served. Like the players and the whole Millwall backroom staff have got to take note and take count that the team, the football club, let their fans down. The fans who actually left on 60 minutes, right, yeah, to support your team. And I'm the only one. A lot of people stayed behind to show their frustrations. But I just want to say it how it is now, Nick Hart and Achtung Millwall, Bobby T. I'll tell you how it is now. We could say, like, people say we could see this coming, but let's be honest, right, yeah? We went to 14 games into the season. Another 4 more, we're getting to that halfway mark, right, yeah? So, yeah, Saturday we need a big response, a big change? No. We've got to go back to the way Millwall used to play. Ugly, grind out results. So far, we're not even killing teams off. We're going up 2-1. We're going up 1-0. And we're sitting back and we're soaking up the Millwall pressure. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. But our next 4 key fixtures, right, yeah, going into December on December, Christmas time, that 20-game mark, it will shape our season. So start off from Saturday, Preston, Pompey, Sheffield Wednesday, and Southampton, going into the Bristol and the Blackburns on December. That's going to shape where we'll be, right? Whether we're up for the fight and we've got the stomach and we're hungry to get the playoffs. I mean, forget automatic, you know. I'm not saying forget automatic, but last night at Oxford showed our true colours. You know, not defending, not pushing up, closing down men. Do you remember the old Millwall way? You know, the hard way, fight for that shirt. And Billy Mitchell was the only one last night who, in my own eyes, was up for the fight. The rest didn't want to know. Anyway, next 4 key games are key. Let's roll our sleeves up, show some Millwall passion and heart and some bite and bollocks. And that's it, mate. That's all I'm going to say, basically. I'm not going Saturday. I'm working. But yeah, Nick Hart, Achtung Millwall, doing a great job. Love the podcast. Love all the Omaras. Love Lions TV. Love Chaps with Chaps. It is what it is. We are Millwall fans and we're passionate. Whether you go home and you get the last train or you don't stay behind, it is what it is. Millwall till I die. Next 4 are key to shape our season. Come on, Millwall. No one likes us and I don't care. Bye for now, Bobby T.
I use Shipt same-day delivery to stay connected with my sister during the holidays. She lives across the country. Shipt has tons of stores to order from. Groceries from Albertsons, crafts from Michael's, even pet supplies from PetSmart. The list goes on. So when we have long-distance movie nights, I turn to Shipt to get face masks, snacks, and everything else we need delivered to her and to me same day. Download the app or visit shipt.com. That's SHIPT.com.
Achtung, Millwall.
Morning, Nick. It's Barnsley here. Just some thoughts on last night's game. It's really disappointing, wasn't it? Looking at the team, you know, Nick Leaper on the left. Yeah, I just thought it was very disjointed. You know, Harding coming in for poor Lenny, who's going to be out for a while, who's been absolutely amazing for us. And yeah, we didn't really come to grips with the whole game, did we? The conditions didn't help, but they should be able to, you know, play in those conditions. From the screen I was watching, it looked very, you know, dark and, you know, miserable. And I think the players looked like they couldn't see the ball either. But, you know, I think RBW has to come into the team somewhere because he's, you know, we know he links up well with the big Serb, and that's just not, you know, he just looks a different player, doesn't he? The big Serb, he's just not having any service, and he looks poor, and he looks like he's not, you know, not. We just look so powder puff up front, don't we? We just got nothing. Defensively, I don't think Cranmer and Cooper had a bad game, but I think everyone around him sort of struggled. So I think, but you know, we've got to look into, you know, what we've done over the last few games, and we've been excellent. So, but you take Femi Aziz out of that team, and we are a different team. And unfortunately, you know, we've got to look at these injuries that we're getting. It's just crazy, and that's what's going to derail our season, I feel. But yeah, very disappointing. You know, there wasn't only Billy really come out with any sort of, you know, just felt, yeah, it was just a really lacklustre display. And we're not used to it. I think that's why everyone's gone a bit mad on social media. But you know, poor fans that went away up there to watch that, half of them left, I think. But yeah, Crocombe didn't have his best game, did he? A couple of shots down his throat and he just moved away from it. But, you know, everyone's entitled to a bad day at the office, and hopefully that's our Plymouth game, shall we say, out of the way this season. But I think Alex Neil, you could tell what he did when he made the changes. Maybe that will show what he's going to do Saturday. Maybe he's going to put Crammer to the right and put Taylor in the middle, because I think that's what he maybe needs to do, because Harden, unfortunately, you know, he's been out, you know, in the wilderness and come in, and he's not played a lot of football, and that showed last night. And his control for the second goal was horrendous. But, you know, he is a lovely bloke, but we need a right back massively, and hopefully Danny can get back in the team. But we are really short of numbers. But yeah, it's very disappointing to lose in that manner. But, you know, what we've done over the last few weeks to be up to where we are is, you know, we've got to commend the players, and we've got to be behind Alex and the players. And Saturday we will be. But yeah, it's just one of those games where, you know, you could tell after about 20 minutes the way it was going to go, and it was just a very awful display. But, you know, we go again on Saturday, as Billy says. But yeah, and obviously Alex Neil was protecting the players, and I think bringing on Taylor and making those changes, hopefully that will, you know, dissect it all and go through it the game and see where it all went wrong. But we go again Saturday, and I think just got to get down there and get behind the boys. And, you know, disappointing now, but we've been on one hell of a run. So, you know, another day, we go down there then on Saturday, and we put in a performance, and that's all we ask. Anyway, mate, take care. I'll see you later.
Hi, Nick. Hope you're well. Martin Colwell here. Sorry if I'm sounding a bit more nasal than usual. I've had a cold strep man flu for over a week now, so yeah, it's still there. Anyway, last night's game in Birmingham. Trying to be not too negative really about that, because some days you're just, from my coaching manual, some days you just play shit, and that was the day. And a cold, wet Tuesday night in Birmingham is the ideal scenario to have one of those games. Didn't go to the game. Been to loads and loads of Millwall games in 60 years. I grew up on the Silwood Estate, and my dad would take me through the arches to the old den. And I've seen some bad teams and some bad performances over that time, so it's nothing new, and we just have to tolerate so many per season, I guess, and hopefully there's not too many. Anyway, the game, yeah, I mean, you know, the team looked injury hit, didn't it, with a centre forward who's just so out of form. You couldn't be more out of form, really. Birmingham seemed up for it, but I thought our first 10-15 minutes we were having a go, without looking like we had any goal threat as well. We were getting up there, but really, you know, it was like a bouncing bomb then, and we didn't know what to do with the ball, and we just gave it back to Birmingham or kicked it out of play. The long ball into the channel wasn't a good idea. I know we've been doing it recently, but the pitch was soaking wet, and the ball will skid off it fast, as we all know who have played football. So that wasn't working, but the players didn't seem to have the intelligence to stop it. I think the commentator picked up on it. He was saying, you know, why don't they need to stop doing it and play the ball more to feet? But we just didn't. Anyway, the first goal went in. Like Saturday, really, all packed into the box without defending the edge of the box, and so give someone a free shot, and if they strike it well, goalie can't see it, and it goes in the back of the net. But yeah, Birmingham were on top. They were exposing us wide down the wings. I think they knew that we were probably weak at fullback. Joe Byrne was getting forward, but he wasn't getting back, and old Wes just looked out of his depth, really. But Birmingham exploited that. Got the second goal that way. The pitch is slippery and you know, wet, and mistakes are going to happen, and Wes made that mistake. They got the ball and they tapped it in, really, and it's 2-0 at half time. and where are we scoring 2 goals from? Anyway, I spoke to a friend of mine who was at the game at half-time, and I was saying to him what I would do is not necessarily that I think it's going to get us back in the game, but I would make 3 changes. I'm taking off 2 fullbacks, bringing on Zach Sturge, and I'm bringing on either Camille Grant or Delboy as the right back. And I'm taking off Negley and bringing on RBW. And I say not really that I think it's going to get us back in the game, but just I think we'd probably play better by doing that. But there were no changes, so fair enough. Thought Alex Deal waited a long while to make changes, though. You know, I think the game, you know, he could have done more really there. But anyway, yeah, I spoke to my friend and I said to him I'd give it 10 minutes second half and then I'd get back to the station and get the train, you know, get back to the station, get something to eat and drink and get on that train. I think there was one at, I don't know what time it was, 10 o'clock or something like that, or just before 10, I don't know, and do that, because I think if we're not back in it in 10 minutes, we'll just fade off. But after 4 minutes, the third goal goes in. No, just poor defending, really. And it's time for my friend and others to depart back to the station or go home to their car. And the rest of the game was dead, really. Okay, they got the 4th goal, but, I mean, you know, they're cruising and it's time to take it easy and rest players. And, you know, really at 4-0, you know, I remember from coaching days that sometimes you're 4-0 down and you've still got like 25 minutes to go and you think, ref, can we just, you know, like, you know, just concede and just go at 4-0, please? You know, then we can go home early because it's pouring down a rain. But you can't do that, so we had to play out the 90 minutes plus. That was that, really. A night to forget. On to Preston on Saturday. Coming back to that goal threat problem that we've got, I think if we're going to win, and we can beat Preston, because they're going quite well, but they're no well beaters, are they? It's kind of a really good defensive performance against them, so we need to sort that defence out. Perhaps it's time to give Caleb Taylor a go and let Tristan Cromer come to right back and bring Sturge back. Midfield's a bit of a problem really now. I think if we sit Billy and Casper Denoy in the middle, then it's who plays, you know, in the other positions really, because it all seems a bit of a muchness at the moment. But yeah, I think that's a game we need to nick 1-0 and get the win. We're still full, so a 1-0 win is a 1-0 win, and you know that will do us nicely. But if we're conceding, we're not really coming back into games, are we? You know, we're not coming back from going first goal down. So, you know, it's either a 0-0 or 1-0, isn't it? And get to the international break and hopefully get a few more players fit who can play, who can really make a difference. You know, because we need to score goals, don't we? And we don't look like doing that at the moment. But yeah, I've tried to be positive rather than negative. I don't want to start slagging people because I don't think anyone did good. But there's no point digging out people because, you know, they know that it was just a bad show. Anyway, on to Saturday. Win against Preston. Come on, you Lions.
Achtung, Millwall.
Who do you want to watch?
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.